Oh my gosh, so you just got something to sell on Poshmark and realized it has a hole in it, or a stain, or a tear, or a rip. Oh my god. But don't worry, you can still sell it on places like Poshmark. So we're gonna talk about how, so stay tuned. Hey everybody, it's Blake, aka PoshBossBlake, and welcome back to the channel. And today, as you saw from the title and my intro, we are talking about how to sell stained, flawed, damaged items. And I'm so happy to share this wealth of knowledge with you all. Before we get into it, definitely make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. If you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. And everybody give this video a thumbs up if you like what you see. All right, so whether you're a reseller or you're just starting out on Poshmark, it's going to happen at some point. You're gonna get something or have something that you maybe didn't realize had a hole. You maybe didn't see the stain. You maybe didn't see the broken button, the rip, the tear, the damage, whatever it is. Luckily, especially in present day 2021, sustainability and upcycling, as they call it, is on the rise. So we're gonna go through some examples and I'm gonna talk about how we can spin an item's condition to still work in our favor when selling it. So I'm actually gonna start with an item that I just picked up, and this just happened to me. So I'm living the story. It's happened before, not often, but it has. So I've got this nice Dooney & Bourke, this is called the Signature Multi Print, and it's gorgeous, right? Like, perfect, it looks fine, you know, it's very gently worn, or excuse me, very gently used, dare I say like new. There's some normal wear, like on the shiny metal part, there's a little scratching as you can see, but you know, it's no big deal. And the inside looks perfect, it's great. Okay, here's where you need to pay attention with the item's texture. Tip number one, okay? You see how this is graded, and so you can hear it ASMR. Like, it's kind of like a Louis Vuitton Epi kind of leather. This is the coated canvas for Dooney. I did not see, and let me see if I can find it for you. It's tough to see, but this is why you need to keep an eye out. Here, next to the DB, and the lighting is, there we go. You see this? That is a slice, okay? This is a slice in the coated canvas. I imagine someone had it in a box and opened the box and unfortunately damaged this item. That said, although, you know, it's not perfect, there's a lot of things going for this otherwise that we will use to talk about. So for example, this easily can like not be visible. You see this? Like, you wouldn't see it from here. I have to point it out to you, right? You know, whether the light is on it or not, right? And that's something we're gonna use to our advantage. So because this is a busier pattern and the sheen does play a part as to, you know, what you're seeing, we're going to pretend to make a description, right? We're gonna state the item condition. So if it's in excellent condition, great. If it's in well-worn condition, fine. You know, clearly lay out the condition. We're gonna take appropriate pictures for the listing. And then when we call out the issue, whatever it is, with whatever circumstance, for this one, we're going to say small cut on front, but is camouflaged by pattern and texture. So people, I think, will respond better, and I find always respond better when you talk about the negative but with a solution, kind of like, you know, in the workplace, or in the workforce rather, like, hello, like, here's the problem. Like, no one wants to just be told, like, I have a problem. Okay, so, you know, like as a manager or something, it's like, come to me with the problem and then the solution. So that's what we want to do for our potential buyer. We want to say, hello, there is this thing, I'm calling it out. I am going to adjust the price a little bit for this based on the condition. And I'm going to tell you that it can blend in and you're not even going to notice it. Something else you might be able to say is perfect as a clutch and your hand will cover it. Great. Perfect example. No one's going to see it. No one can barely see it anyway. So like, oh, no big deal. So you just want to play around with how you're phrasing your language when it comes to these items. That said, we are going to look at a previous item that I have sold, and I'm going to throw the listing image up here. Okay, so this was a beautiful marine layer, long kind of shirt dress in a gorgeous, fun print. It was super soft, it was gorgeous, right? But something I did not realize till I got it home was there was a button that was completely missing. There was a button that was missing and there was a button that was broken. So what I did was I obviously took pictures, I identified the issues in the listing, but when it came to the broken and missing button, I said, quick trip to the tailor will make it like new. Easy. That can also stimulate someone's brain to be like, oh wait, I have an extra button or I have an extra sewing kit. People don't mind putting in a little bit of work if they're getting a good deal. So I think it's important, again, just to be honest. Don't try to make it something it's not. Like, it is a cut in the fabric. It is a broken something, but it's how you spin it and how you talk about it that is important. So I wouldn't have said like a broken button. Okay, great. Where's the broken button? How bad is the broken button? Did you include the picture of the broken button? Is there an extra? Because oftentimes, particularly with button downs, there is an extra that is attached to the size tag or inside somewhere towards, you know, the seam, the side seam. So it's really how you phrase the particular item. Next example, I actually will bring and talk about this Isabel Marant cute, I guess, blouse top. There was some staining from the underarm area due to deodorant. The color was white. It's bound to happen, and people are absolutely fine with that as long as they know about it. And, you know, really it's as simple as that. The way that I talked about this was by saying slight faint discoloration on front, see photos. That way I'm not saying like, oh my gosh, there is massive pit stains. Like, ew, no. You want to soften the blow with what you're discussing. So since we're on the topic of stains, depending on where the stain is, what the stain is, and how big it is, I usually reference certain words with certain size stains when I'm doing my listing. If there is like a small stain or a small discoloration patch, I will say small blemish so that it is less of a blow. Like, it's less work in my mind for the receiving end. So like, say you have a white blouse and there is a red stain, right? I'm not gonna say giant red stain on arm. I'm gonna say blemish on arm, and then say whether you treated it or untreated it. People sometimes want to know if it's been attempted to be cleaned. And oftentimes, depending on what the fabric is or, you know, what the circumstances are, I will not treat the stain. And people are okay with that. I think, you know, based on what I've been saying for the past couple of examples, you've heard me talk about price or reference to price. That is where price plus how you're describing plays part. It's like a joint effort, right? So when you are pricing your item, like for example, this, and as this video goes up, this will be in my Poshmark closet. I could probably, because of the condition of this being like new, I could probably list this between, I don't know, 60, 70, 80. It's very unique. It actually, there's not a lot on the market. There's none on the market. So that works in my advantage. I will knock it down. I think I'm going to list it at 50 so I can price competitively and be found with pricing searches for 0 to 25, 25 to 50 when people are searching on Poshmark. So, you know, if this was in not great condition, you know, I wouldn't be able to garner top dollar. But because of the condition, because it's pretty well hidden within itself, and the fact that, you know, you're going to use it as a clutch or like have it under your arm, you know, that works to my advantage as well as the buyers. You know, if they want to negotiate, fine. But again, everything else about this bag is pretty perfect, so it kind of warrants that price. If you're selling something that's stained and, you know, it's not steamed or it looks bad in the photos, you're probably not going to be able to garner top dollar. So if you, shameless plug, if you didn't see my last video, and I'll link it up here, on how to appropriately price your items, definitely just keep in mind what your value of your item is. Do your research, price accordingly, and don't be afraid to sell flat items, okay? I don't know that anyone makes it their sole purpose to only sell flawed items. I'm sure there's people that do that, but that's not my business. And I know, you know, in the reseller community, we always have something that comes up. There's a stain, we miss it. There's, you know, deodorant, there's a ripped seam. Speaking of which, sometimes, especially with men's jackets or shirts, sometimes the shoulder seam can come undone. Judge the severity of the tear, the rip. If you think it can be fixed, great, sell it. I think something that I've yet to mention is the brand. Like, what is the value of the item? If the value is there for the particular item to go to the tailor, to be fixed, entertain doing that for yourself. It will be a pain because it's, you know, not something you envisioned, but, you know, say you make a special pile for yourself, assuming, you know, you're a consistent reseller or something. Make a little pile that says, once I fill it, that's when I'll take everything to the dry cleaner, so you're not wasting time, you know, for one thing. That actually recently came up in a chat that I was in. Someone said, you know, I collect, or I get men's ties, do I take it to the tailor? And I said, sure, why not? It's one of the cheapest things to take to the tailor. I think it's, depending on what city you live in, you know, it could be $2 to $5 a tie, and that's pretty cheap. It's probably the cheapest thing at the tailor/dry cleaner. So, someone else had said, well, that's kind of like a waste of time. And I was like, well, maybe take one trip, do one giant pile of stuff, mix it with your personal stuff that you need to clean. So it's not, you know, extra work. Like, at the end of the day with the flawed items, I personally am not going to take the time to fix them, to sell them. And someone is willing to pay me, maybe not the highest price, but something to get the item, and they'll do the work themselves. Both scenarios are fine. Both scenarios are okay. No one's going to judge you either way, right? You do you. Boo, okay? All right, you guys, so to recap, we're going to make sure we tell an accurate description of the item within our listing. We're going to use positive, optimistic, forward-thinking phrasing with the particular issues that the item may have. We're going to photograph and include clear photos of the issues. And with Poshmark in particular, you can add up to 16 photos these days. That's a lot of pictures. That's a lot of pictures. Sometimes a little too much, I think. But for something that might be intricate, get really good close-up shots of the issue. For something like this, you know, if it wasn't photographable on its own, I would take my finger and point to it. Like, that's, you know, one of the times that having your hands in items, I think, is acceptable. If you don't like that, you could put a little sticker next to it, a little post-it, and, you know, and say in the description, blemish next to, you know, marker on photo, whatever it is. So definitely just be clear and literally have clear photos. And again, price accordingly. Like, be willing to not accept top dollar, but also make sure you still get some money. I think it's better to be out a little money than all your money, if those are your circumstances, but chances are someone could really want to buy your item regardless. So definitely give it a shot, and I hope these tips were helpful. So if you would like to see more of them, definitely, again, hit subscribe, hit thumbs up, and I thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll link my playlist up here to check out more of my videos, and I'll see you again in the future. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!